Welcome, ladies and gentlemen. This election day, Tuesday, November 4th. Roll call, please.
And just as a reminder to all who are in attendance, this meeting is being recorded and live streamed on the council's YouTube page. Calling roll, Mr. Gallagher.
Here.
Mr. Kelly.
Here.
Ms. Conwell. Ms. Conwell is absent at the moment. Ms. Turner.
Present.
Ms. Simon. Ms. Simon is absent at the moment. There is a quorum.
Okay. Public comment?
No, Mr. Chair, no one is signed in.
In your packets, we have the meeting minutes of October 21st. If they're in order, I'll accept the motion in a second.
So moved.
Second.
Motion and a second. Further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Against? Thank you. 2025-0299.
Resolution number 2025-0299, authorizing an amendment to contract number 3970 with the Metro Health System for correctional healthcare services for the Cuyahoga County Jail System.
Yes, sir. Welcome.
Good afternoon. Chris Costin, Sheriff's Department. We presented this a couple weeks ago to Council and to Public Safety Committee. The original dollar amount was 12.6. They got it down to 10.5, and now it's kicked back to committee. I am happy to say that after a thorough research I've done on our budgets and our history of the contract, we are able to amend this contract without asking for any future dollars in this contract amendment.
Thank you. Any questions from Mr. Costin? Yes, sir.
Thank you. So if it started out at 12.6 and now it's down to not needing anything, how did that happen?
I couldn't explain how it happened. Well, I could explain about where we're at now. Originally, it started at $8.1 million at my recommendation. It went up to 12.6. That is between the law department and Metro's law department. Going back through the research that I did through the contract, going back to 2019, total resolutions were about $128,165,111. Total expenses year-to-date through August of this year, $114,140,524. In the Sixth Amendment and the agreement, it does note that there is $14 million left in the original contract and the amendments.
Okay. Mr. Huth, do you have anything to say?
A couple of things. Certainly made a mistake the first time around when it was introduced. I was going back and forth with Metro's counsel about whether it was a 5 or 6 week month extension, and I ended up plugging in the dollar amount for the 6 week extension when it was only 6 month extension, when it was only a 5 month extension. So that's what it brought it down to the 10 million. At the time, I was kind of focused on that number because we didn't know where things were going to be going. You never know from month to month, particularly when you get into the holidays, and with the economy tracking down the way it is and everything else going on in the economy coming out of DC, I felt it was better to kind of make more money available if we needed it. But then after talking through things with Chris, realized the money's there. So we can go ahead and do the amendment without the legislation. We can withdraw the legislation.
Oh, thank you. So this 0299, that's going to be withdrawn?
Yes.
Okay. When we're done with the Metro, I have another question.
On this issue or no? Okay. Any further questions? And we're okay, no action need be taken.
Correct.
This will die in December.
Correct.
At the end of the year.
If I could, I'd like to correct something I said at the meeting 2 weeks ago, 2 weeks ago.
Okay.
Metro has never been out of compliance with the contract. I said something, and that's how it came out. I know it's how it came out, but I didn't mean that at all. They've been in compliance with the contract. They've been providing services as needed in the jail as the contract requires. I just want to make sure I corrected that impression. So, thank you.
Any further? Yes, ma'am.
I'm sorry, I missed it. So if you withdraw this, what happens to the necessity of extending the contract?
Turns out there's enough money in the contract to extend it for that 5 month period.
Okay.
And since we're just doing a time extension, it doesn't require Border Control or.
The contract
like,
just says month to month at this point? Is that what happened? I thought it expires, okay, well, there's just enough money there and we don't need to do anything.
Correct.
Is what you're saying?
Correct.
And if that
we're
money-
extending the date, but that's all.
And if the money was not used, if we ended up passing the original amount, what would have happened to to the money? It goes into the general fund?
It would have stayed in the fund. It might have gotten appropriated at some point, but it never would have gotten spent because we weren't going to need it.
And council may or may not have had a weigh-in of how that money was spent, right?
Well, it wouldn't have been spent.
We would have had a weigh-in if it went back into the general fund?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
okay. Okay, I thought so. Thank you.
Thank you.
Now, the timeline, we don't have to adjust anything with the extension on the timeline? We're good there?
We've, as Chris said, we've executed the Sixth Amendment to take us through to March of next year.
Any further questions regarding this item? Okay, we're just going to let it die a natural death.
A natural death, right? Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thanks.
Chairman,
Yes, sir.
while Mr. Costin is up there.
Sure.
Could I ask a question?
Absolutely.
So from yesterday's sheriff budget, when we had originally seen the requested amount of 217, roughly .9, and then it came back as, from the executive, 200, do you think, seeing you're a numbers cruncher, do you think that the sheriff's department can function with the recommended budget and the amount of overtime that was about $5 million or so in overtime that goes from the requested down to the recommended?
Through the chair, to Councilman Kelly, as, like you said, we're number crunchers. We don't deal with the operations, we don't deal with the efficiencies. Just looking at the numbers and having an accounting finance background, being in OBM for 5 years here at the county, do I think it will be enough? No. However, I cannot make that decision. That is a decision between the director, which here is the sheriff, and the executive administration. I do not think it will be enough to get us through. History speaks for itself. We've always had it come back in November, ask for additional funds. Even going back to 2023, we came back and asked for $19 million. Last year, we asked for $16 million, and now this year, we're asking for $15 million. Now, most of it is personnel, and almost all of it, but there are some controlled costs. For example, this year, we're asking for $4.3 million in controlled costs. That's your space charges, that's your PSO chargebacks, that's your utilities, that's be put in our budget. That's out of our control. It's actually a function that OBM follows and overlooks, but that's something in our budget. So no, with the personnel that we have, I don't think we will, but again, it's not my call.
So you would think at this point then that probably be coming back in November asking for more money?
At this point, yeah, probably about $15 million.
Is, if I may, Mr. Chairman, if I may
Yes, sir.
continue. So is everything included in this budget, figuring these amounts that are in here?
So the way it's broken up and the way we review the even projections and the budget, OBM sends out a form. It's the 118 form. It breaks everything down by the account code. And we break it up between other expenses, personnel, controlled, and capital. Everything lines up except for personnel expenses. When we went and looked back, and Donna can speak to this more in depth for you, there are some things that weren't included. For example, our law enforcement, the OPERS is only calculated at 14%, where it should be 18.1%. The overtime that's being in our budget did not have any OPERS or Medicare attached to it in the fringes. But like I said, Donna has more in-depth about what's not included in the personnel.
Okay, Donna, would you kick in here?
Hello, Donna Cleel, Sheriff's Finance Manager. So basically, when we, like Chris was saying, we took it line by line. And to start with, the union allowances. We have these union allowances that are CBA, they're dictated by the agreements. This year, those union allowances are going to be $8 million. Going off the forms that OBM sent us, next year they're giving us $1.7 million. Now, sometimes we're told the rest of the union allowances are tucked into salaries. If that's the case, then salaries is underfunded, but something is underfunded. So again, we look at those union allowances and we break them out and we know they're $8 million this year. They're probably going to be higher next year because wages go up. Now, that's union allowances. As Chris was saying, so say that's roughly 6.3 million we're going to be short, give or take. Say, we crunched all the numbers. We were told originally that the OPERS and the Medicare was in the overtime. It's not. According to these forms, it is absolutely not in there. That's another 3.1 million. Then, as Chris said, the 18.1% that the law enforcement should be at for OPERS is not. It's at 14 like everybody else. That's another 900,000. So now you're over 10 million right there. Then we look at the overtime itself. Now, I get it, and I'm not going, we are not privy to these meetings with the Office of Innovation. We're not privy to operations and all these efficiencies that are being created. And I do believe they're being created, and we're moving in the right direction. The reason I say that is because the deputy overtime this year so far is down over 4,000 hours than it was last year. The PSO overtime is down over 3,000 hours than last year. So efficiencies are being created. Unfortunately, what's happening, though, the costs don't run with the hours because wages go up. So that 4,000 hours in deputy overtime less this year only equated to $60,000 because the wages go up. So I guess what I'm driving at here is the overtime every year. So in 2023, overtime was 19 million. In 2024, overtime was 21 million. In 2025, it's 23 million. It goes up 2 million every year. So with efficiencies, even if all these efficiencies are achieved, hypothetically, it would have been 25 million. Say these $4 million in efficiencies are achieved. It's still going to be 21 million. We're still going to be 3 million short in overtime because they're giving us 18. If that's, am I making sense? Okay, so so I am predicting in personnel next year $13 million shortage. That's what I'm predicting in personnel next year as a shortage of 13 million. Again, I'm not going against what the sheriff said because they are creating efficiencies. They're doing so many things, streamlining so many things that I'm not privy to. I'm just a number cruncher. So is Chris, so is Kendra. We just work the numbers. And what we're seeing, the 200 million is not going to make it work next year. And let's look at the historical data. Every year we come back for about 15 million at the end of every year. And you know that, Councilman Gallagher, and it's probably going to be the same next year.
So you talked fast.
I'm sorry.
I felt like I was at home for a minute. So the bottom line through all of this is how short do you think it's going to end up being?
And again, I can't speak so much to controlled or things like that. We think the other stuff is, and that's the things that buy like ammunition or bulletproof vests, things like that, non-personnel, we think that's going to be okay. Controlled, I can't speak so well to controlled because that's out of our control. I think personnel is going to be about 13 million short.
Okay. Okay, I
And again, this
appreciate
is something that Chris, Kendra, and I all kind of agree on.
Would it be improper if I asked if some of those numbers could be sent to us so we know?
No.
Absolutely. We can send over our work.
Okay.
Yes.
Thank you.
I do, for edification to the council, I do know what I was briefed on, the implementation of cost savings on the overtime with innovation and all that. That, when done, is going to take about a year to implement, as we have to buy software, things like that, get everybody up to speed. So we're probably not going to see relief, I'm guessing, for the first 2 years. So in this budgetary period, we can't really factor that in yet. It wouldn't be fair, and it wouldn't be fair to anybody to do that. So what you're telling us, in essence, is we're short 13 million minimum.
Minimum. Now, if we achieve no efficiencies, again, I'm just looking at trends. And according to the trends, because of the pay wages, overtime, even as hours comes down, overtime is going up 2 million a year. Went from 19 to 21 to 23. If that trend holds true, it's going to be 25 next year. Now we're talking 7 million in overtime. Again, if that trend holds true, we're putting in our paper, in our calculations, maybe 23. If that's the case, then that 13 million just became 15 million.
And this isn't all overtime. This is the calculation of the What was it, the 18-1?
Oh, that's the 18%. That's the not having any OPERS or Medicare put in our current overtime. And then in the regular law enforcement salaries, it was all done at 14% instead of 18. And then that's the union allowances that this year will hit $8 million. And according to the paperwork we got from OBM, we were given 1.7. Now, again, we are told that some of those union allowances get paid out of salaries. If that's the case, okay, but then that means salaries will be underfunded. Either way you look at it, it's over $6 million short, the way we see it in the numbers.
Were your projections to the sheriff what you're telling us now, and then those were altered, or what? How did it get in
What
front of
happens
us?
is, what happens is we had a meeting with the administration and with OBM, and Chief Reese was there, Chief Rivera was there. Sheriff was not in that meeting, he was out of town at the time. And when we submitted our projections, that was the $217 million. Then, and we submit that to OBM, and then what we got back was the executive recommended a $200
Who was in the
million.
meeting with OBM?
With OBM, it was Walter and Shantae. Oh, and Irma and Dan were also there too, yes.
Well, thank God Walter's here, so. Now, Walter, help us out here.
Let's start with the beginning. Walter Parfouts from the fiscal office, I'm sorry. So the base budget was initially prepared based on pay 13. Okay, pay 13, staff that was on board, pay 13, with a 2% cost of living and a small increase, I believe it was 5% for hospitalization. As the budget process progressed, we updated it to reflect pay 19 staff, active employees. So full credit for everyone who was on, 10% healthcare, so we increased it even further, okay? They submitted their requests for overtime. I believe the number was somewhere near $25 million. That was reduced based on the overtime that was identified by the administration, the Office of
Well,
Innovation.
historically, the administration has been horrible at that. And not just this administration, previous administrations have been horrible at predicting overtime, which is why we're trying to implement, or they're trying to implement new
Well,
controls.
so the innovation department went over and did some evaluations and found unnecessary overtime that was being worked.
Mr. Chair, I'm sorry if I can interrupt. Who at the administration
It was
is
a
pushing back?
Department of Innovation.
Okay, again, I asked yesterday, what experience do they have with law enforcement or the sheriff department or any of the workings of safety? And the answer was really
Yeah,
not.
through the chair to Councilwoman, I don't think they do,
Okay.
just to be fair, yeah.
And again, I wish you had the briefing that I had, because I didn't know what was going on either, but I was briefed from Innovation. They've been embedded with the sheriff for 8-9 months doing their numbers on the overtime. And they've identified ways to cut the overtime, but we're going to have to go through a process to do that, new software, things like that. Getting them understanding what the new rules are going to be. So it's a process we're ready to go. That's a good thing. What I think we're all struggling with is, bottom line, regardless of who was involved, how are we 13 million short?
I'm sorry, to the councilman, for this year or for 26 and 27?
Throw a dart.
Well, let's talk about this. So this year, we have a request, and I believe it's for $11 million in personnel. But just to be clear, it's $11 million, but $3 million of that is the overtime number. Okay, the remainder of that are all adjustments that came through that were not budgeted adjustments, all CBA related for union wages. Here, I've got a breakdown here. So salaries for union employees were off by 3.9 million because of a whole host of items. CO corporals fact-finding resulted in additional funding. CO sergeants, a conciliation process.
Are those all factored into the budget?
They're factored into the request that we received, but they should be in this year's budget because we used pay 19 active employees.
And
Yes.
are they?
Again, it's hard to say because we are told the union allowances are tucked into salaries also. And it's all, we get these numbers and they're lumped together. So they could potentially be in there, but then that means the union allowances, which this year's gonna hit 8 million, are not. We get salaries, we get benefits. That's the numbers we get. So
What would be helpful through the chair to Donna, to you, other than getting this lumped numbers? Would you like an itemization?
and we do get one, and the itemization we got says union allowances of 1.7. So I'm like, okay, well, this year they're 8 million, where's the other 6.3? Okay, we're being told they're in salaries. So I would like an itemization of, since union allowances are so much, that would be nice to break them all out instead of just lumping them into salaries, because they're hitting big numbers now.
Okay, so that request is out there to help weed through this, sort it out.
So the union allowances category, as I see it in the system, we're budgeted at 1,546,000 for this year, 2025. The projection is, well, the year-to-date actual is 1,306,000. We're projecting to spend 1.5 million, just as we're budgeted. So the union allowances of 8 million, I'm not sure what that is.
Right here, we pulled it all out right out of M4, right there, 7.6.
I don't believe these are union, those are salary codes.
Okay, so even if they're salary codes, but they might be, even if they're salary, I'm sorry, even if they're salary codes, we call, they seem to fall under union allowances. Whether they're salary codes, union allowances, they're not in the budget. I don't know how else, because again, I'm not part of OBM. So whatever you want to name them, again, if they are in salaries, they're not in the 26-27 budget. And if they are in there, then the salaries are really short. I don't know how better to explain it.
Let's take a time out here.
See, these are CBA agreements.
Chair?
Yes,
Okay, because I just wanted to clarify that what we're talking about has nothing to do with the item that's before us. So I'll just slide that over, but I'm so confused. I did hear the sheriff's testimony, and I'm more confused after hearing you today. And so I'm not accusing anybody of anything. I would like more clarification. Can we bring everybody back? I don't know who everybody is, but
maybe to think, because we're really not prepared for this today.
in the briefing that you received,
And the only reason I think I got it was they're not ready to go yet. We're going to give them into January. We'll bring them back into committee in January, and they can tell us they need a little bit of time, and I didn't want to rush it. But the actual savings is probably going to take a little while, so I don't think we should really play with that right now. I think we should play with the numbers that are hard.
well, through the chair, I don't want to seem special ed up here, but as the finance chair, I'm confused about some things, and I'm wondering, would it be okay if we could ask some more questions and bring them?
You want to continue on, or you want to bring them back into committee?
Let's bring them back.
Okay, why don't we do that? Because we're wholly unprepared to delve deeper into this. And then if you guys could coordinate and get to a consensus. Because history tells us they're going to be back in November for 10, 13, $15 million. It's inappropriate. I've been yelling about that since day one, before some of the people are even in this county. It's just not the way you budget. So let's get to a number. Let's figure out what it actually is. I'm a little disappointed that we got to this point without a consensus. And it sounds like we don't have a consensus. So let's bring it back into the chairwoman's committee, probably maybe at the next,
The
when's-
6th? November 6th? Or, no, it's not going,
would you be prepared to come back in November 6th?
is that,
After that, because it's going to take, because I'm going to want to get with probably Walter and Shantae and go over some numbers together. So if it's not November 6th, do you have, is it like every 2 weeks?
Trevor?
It would be the following, I believe.
Excuse me, Madam Chair, it would be November 17th, but that's a committee of the whole for the budget at 1.
17th? We good with that? And then we can close this door. And we really need to be accurate with these numbers, because where we're at, we can't be dipping into reserves, which we historically do. Mr. McAleer?
Trevor Meckler, County Council staff. Mr. Chair, Finance Chairwoman, I don't know if you would be willing to potentially maybe add it to Thursday's agenda if you're going to bring it back to Committee of the Whole. Thursday starts at 9 a.m. So, but I don't know if that'll give enough time for OBM and the sheriff to get back together to get what Councilwoman Simon asked for, kind of a comparison. Yeah, that starts at 9 a.m., so we'll have more time on the back end. I just don't know what day you want to do it, but I would like to give them enough time to come up with any
Walter,
changes that they might
What kind
need.
of time do you need on this?
Councilman, I have my details. I'm glad to share everything I have.
Well, we've already done that. We thought we were done, so we're not done.
Oh, I don't mean that. I mean the detail behind the numbers. I'm ready to share those with Donna and Chris, or
So Thursday, you're good to come back?
I could. It's just, that's the court's day, so it's going to be, maybe we push it off for a week.
Through the chair, while he's talking, what's good for you guys to come back? It seems like Walter's ready to come back Thursday. Donna, will you have what he needs and what we asked for?
Chris is not here this Thursday, and I would like to actually meet with Walter and Shantae and kind of see how they're getting to their numbers, we're getting to our numbers.
Okay.
So now somebody had said something about the 17th. That would work better if that would work for you.
Madam Chair, what do you prefer?
That works.
Okay, let's do that, so we could put this to bed.
Okay.
We'd rather be accurate and to start anew.
Okay, sounds great.
All right, anything further? Okay, we'll see you on the 17th.
Thank you.
We'll see everybody on the 17th. Okay. 2025-0305.
Resolution number 2025-0305, authorizing an amendment to a revenue-generating agreement number 50 with the City of Cleveland to lease space located at 1300 Ontario Street, Cleveland.
Good afternoon, John Myers on behalf of Department of Public Works. Mr. Chairman and members of the Public Safety and Justice Affairs Committee, good afternoon. I'm here to seek authority to enter into a 7th Amendment with the City of Cleveland for a 1-year lease for Tower 2 of the Justice Center, also known as the Cleveland Police Headquarters, approximately 125,000 square feet, and related parking spaces in the amount of rounding up slightly to $2.7 million for this next year. This is a revenue-generating agreement, I'm happy to say. After looking for ways to take money, this is some money coming back to the city, to the county, from the city.
Thank you. This is this is the one contract with Cleveland that's actually worked out for us. But I think this is going to be our last extension because the
Likely.
headquarters are probably going to be ready and they'll be moving out.
Yes, it could be another slight extension, but I would think in another year, the new headquarters should be ready.
Okay. Anybody have any questions regarding this?
Just through the chair to Mr. Myers, how did you calculate the increase in the cost of the space?
Mr. Chair, to Councilwoman Simon, we took our current rates. Actually, we're continuing this for another year at the same rates because we've been extremely aggressive in the rates that we've increased since 2018 when this lease first started. We've almost doubled the rent. So we have been happy to receive this revenue. We've probably received, I think we maybe spent $9 million for the building, and we've probably collected $17 million over this period of time. So the fact they pay their utilities, which are the more inflationary things, they pay their own cleaning, which are the things that are more impacted with inflation. So we checked with our outside consultants to check with make sure we were in the right ballpark for the Cleveland market and where we historically have been. And we were not wanting to chase them out because this has been a good source of income for our operations.
Through the chair, but they have nowhere to go, I guess. I don't think they'd be chased out, but I understand. Where in the range are they for the rent in the market?
Mr. Chair, to Councilwoman Simon, we're charging $20.50 per square foot, and that doesn't include any services. So, and their parking's on top of that. So for, frankly, a Class C- building, given the fact there's been no investment in the portion of the building that they're in, it's in not the best of condition. The $20 range is appropriate in the downtown Cleveland market.
Through the chair, are they current with utilities and all their expenses with?
They are.
They are?
As of three and a half weeks ago when I last checked, they were.
Have they
so.
ever fallen behind?
They are not always the most consistent in how they pay, but they do pay, and we sometimes have to remind them.
Okay, anything further? I think we'll happily move this, looking at the timelines, you'd like this to move forward.
We would appreciate any consideration as to time you can give.
Well, without objection, I'll accept a motion for Resolution 2025-0305 to the full council under second reading suspension.
So move.
Second.
A motion and a second. Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Against? Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Jen. Ms. Simon, did you have an issue you would like to discuss? Did you? I thought you wanted to talk about the sheriff and moving prisoners to the judges.
Well, if he's ready, I see they're here, if they're ready to talk about that, because
I don't know if they are or not.
I had asked in the committee yesterday, I think, about why, there's delay in getting the inmates up to the courtrooms, and I was told preemptively by the sheriff that I think he anticipated my follow-up question, whether it was for, not sufficient staffing, and the sheriff said no, but it was nuanced with that answer. So I guess, thank you. If
Good
you're
afternoon,
ready.
Council. Just to inform you, through the chair, through the councilwoman, the question about the prisoners, residents going up to court, a lot of factors in that. First factor is the individual. Many times the individual is either unprepared or unwilling to go for whatever reason, delay tactics and a variety of things, so that's one. Second, obviously, is the correctional staff, whether or not the timeliness of pickup, that's a factor. And then as we get upstairs and transition to the deputies, there is another component there. So just to say that there's one single link in that chain that's responsible for a delay, it's a multifaceted approach to that. A couple of factors are in the correctional center, and then, of course, we have the deputy and the communication between deputy and bailiff on the court side, deputy side. We're looking at that. We have 2 sergeants, lieutenant, captain, and major who are over that function on the sheriff's side, on the deputy side. So we're looking at that. And on the correction side, we also have management over that, looking at that specific function, because they do a great job there. They process a lot every day, but we also know that there could be better services at some times. I have judges call me probably twice a week. I get a call from a judge with a specific situation. My jury is seated. I've been waiting 45 minutes, nobody here. They also call Chief Rivera or Chief Reese, but they call me with that. But beyond that, we have a working group set to look at not only that, but other court-related functions. So just so you know, probably I'd say by first quarter, we'll have a few recommendations and make some changes to make sure that's a lot more efficient, because it's something that has not always matched up perfectly. We get that, so members of the court, corrections, the deputy side, and if we need to, probation, because other issues come up with people who are supposed to have an ankle monitor, but they don't, the order wasn't in, variety of factors. Look at ways to close that gap also.
So Sheriff, I don't know if I want to wait a quarter. To me, this is a core function of the sheriff department, and I've been hearing, from judges, from courts, repeatedly, not repeatedly, but consistently about the lack of timing of bringing up the residents. So what do you need from us in this budget cycle? I want to know now, before we complete the budget, if that's something we can look at to staff that. I did hear staffing this time. I think that is part of it, what we can do, because it is a core function. And if we can't accomplish a core function, we shouldn't be out doing other things that aren't part of our core. I don't know if my colleagues agree, but I think that's an essential part of what I would like our sheriff's department to do. So I would like to know what we need to do as a council to look at in the meantime to help with the situation.
Through the chair to the councilwoman, it is one of the sheriff's core functions, courts, corrections, preservation, public peace, or actually in reverse order. However, when I mentioned first quarter, it's for the working group, looking at some other optimizations. As far as this, I can tell you that management is looking at it. Can we always use another 100 people everywhere? Yes, but that's not always the immediate solution. As we discussed yesterday, just simply having additional deputies isn't the only solution. So just want to mention that, and that's something
Through
that
the
we're
chair,
gonna
is
keep
it part
working
of the solution, though?
on. Staffing is always part of the solution, but that is something, that is a staff on both sides, on the correction side and on the deputy side. We have a set number for that, and that set number works for corrections and works for the courthouse security side also. So as long as we can maintain our numbers, we're workable.
I through the chair, want to look at this further.
Sure.
Because if we can't accomplish this, we shouldn't be out doing other things, in my opinion. We need to be good at this, and we're not good at this. I mean, maybe we're good, but we don't have enough to be better.
The chair, the councilman, better is a great way to look at it. We can always optimize everything. And when you discuss core functions, and we talk about the preservation of public peace, running the courts, number 2, running the correctional facility, number 3, and down from there, those are competing functions. And we do the best we can to manage those, but to optimize each one of those. The courts, get it major effect. And then the other thing is, courts is certainly front-end loaded. Those mornings are very busy, and then it tapers off. So it's a management thing for us to look at, and we'll keep you apprised as we move forward.
Okay.
Further. Yeah, I would support us providing the core function to those that are, I'd like to keep our friends in the Justice Center happy.
Yes, sir.
So anything you can do on that, and we'll have further discussion with the councilwoman and anybody else that has a concern. But she's right, now's the time, if you need something, like we always tell everybody, we need to know. Doesn't mean we're gonna be able to give it to you, but we can look.
Thank you.
And as you know, this budget's very tight, so
Understood.
we're stuck.
Mi-
Yes, sir.
Mr. Chair,
Yes, ma'am.
in terms of priority, core function traditionally here has not been, the downtown safety patrol or whatever it's called now. That was one unit that was regionally, on call. It was never dedicated. And it is a priority question, and where we want to for me, a core function is to service the courts and the jail, and we need to be good at that. We need to be better, and then we can, in my opinion, then branch out into an additional impact unit. I really disagree with putting resources someplace else when we, in our own backyard, aren't doing good enough.
I appreciate that, Councilwoman, through the chair of the Councilwoman, I appreciate that. But the core functions listed in the ORC, again, we talked about the order of ingredients in a product. Number 1, preservation of public peace. Number 2, court functions. Number 3, corrections, and it goes down from there. So having said that, I am mindful of the fact that we don't have 911 responsibility, which was part of preservation of public peace. So that's good for us, right, in this instance, because we don't have to dedicate so many resources to doing that. But point well taken, and we'll keep that in mind, particularly as we know that the hours of these different units are opposing hours, right? Evening hours, daytime hours.
We'll continue to debate this. Thank you. I appreciate it.
Well, and, you know, keeping in mind, the ORC really is kind of slanted towards rural counties, because it's a whole different world, as you know, in a rural county as opposed to our county, or Franklin, or Hamilton.
I get that, sir, and that's been said before, but if it were, it would say the ORC for rural counties is this, but I get that, Councilman. The majority of Ohio is rural sheriff's offices, yes.
Well, through the chair, if I can, too,
Yes,
thank
ma'am.
you. On that point, it's unincorporated areas, like in Franklin, we're different. And what's different here in particular is we have the city of Cleveland that should be manning and with women and men using their own police force. And what we've done, in my opinion, is, supersede that. That's different, too. And that's been the source of our discussions, that really that's up to the municipality primarily to do that, and we can supplement it, but certainly it's not our primary job to make sure that those streets are safe.
Point well taken.
Okay. Anything further? We'll discuss this further. Let's get through the budgetary process.
Yes, sir.
We're hearing some things that we're going to have to adjust here, it seems, or maybe not, I don't know. But we'll see all of you on the 17th regarding that. Okay?
Yes, sir.
Fair
Through
enough?
the chair, if I
Yes,
could just
ma'am.
have a final statement on that. As far as the fluctuating numbers, and I just want to have a real number. I just want us to be clear about what we need to pay for, whatever services we will be providing, whether they're core or ancillary. I remember when I was in high school and I wanted to go out, my mother made sure I did my chores before I could, have extra things. So I don't have anything negative to say. I just want a real figure. I just want us to know what we need to pay for and how we're going to pay for it.
Better
Thank you for
watch
all
it.
that you do.
Better watch it. You're sounding like me.
That's not a bad thing. All the time.
All
No.
the time. Thank you. All right. Well, we'll get there. We'll get to the real number, and hopefully we can move forward, get through these tough times, and maybe there's some sunshine on the opposite end, hopefully. All right.